FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Ladies, gentlemen, Eric Mead.
Just like that, that was the fastest introduction I've ever gotten. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My job title is magician. And one of the ways that I think about my work as a magician is that it's my job to imagine impossible things, things that never were or couldn't be, and then I find ways of making them into theatrical realities so that the audience can have an experience that's really kind of unusual and different than that provided by the other arts. So it's kind of sad to me that the question I am most often asked is, how did you do that? Yeah, I understand where that comes from. When you're presented with something that seems impossible or flies in the face of experience, it's, I guess, common, human curiosity to try to understand it. But magic isn't about solving puzzles. It's about not knowing and not understanding and having a little bit of mystery. And so when people ask me that question, how did you do that? I think it kind of indicates a failure on my part to communicate how special and how rare and how great it is to find a little taste of mystery in the world and to want to keep that. So most of the time I dismiss those questions with flippant kind of smartass remarks. How did you do that? Satanism, it's one of my favorites, which got me into some trouble in Mississippi one time, but that's a whole other thing. This is not a normal situation, though. So today what I propose to do is show you two magic tricks, a card trick and a coin trick. And before I do each one, I'm going to tell you something about how they are done. But I didn't want to take the mystery away from you, so I'm going to describe how these tricks are done by talking about other things entirely, seemingly unrelated things, and it will be up to you to connect the dots. And we don't have a lot of time, so I want to start by turning our attention to the night sky, and specifically a phenomenon called the Perseid meteor shower. It's a ritual at my house. I live in Aspen, Colorado. And a bunch of my friends every year go out to the golf course behind my house with lawn chairs and a telescope and blankets and hot cocoa, and we watch the Perseid meteor shower. I got interested, 4 or 5 years ago in how that got its name. Why is it called the Perseid meteor shower? And investigating that, I learned that Mother Nature is perpetrating a rather elaborate optical illusion, which led to the name. So what you see in the slide is a little illustration of part of our solar system. The green orbit there around the sun is our Earth's orbit, and the big red orbit going in a different direction is a comet called Swift-Tuttle. And Swift-Tuttle is big, and it's crumbling as it goes around, and it's been going around for so long that it's left in its wake a bunch of debris. So that whole orbit you see there is full of stuff. A little square that just appeared there, that shows the spot where our orbit and Swift-Tuttle's orbit intersect. And so once a year, we pass through that cloud of debris, and that's what makes the meteors in the sky. When the stuff's big enough, it burns up. I apologize for the kind of elementary lecture you're getting, but you'll understand why it has to be that way in a second. So here's an illustration of a thought experiment. If we stop the Earth in its orbit and we leave the rest of the debris of Swift-Tuttle going, if you were watching the meteors in this condition, standing on Earth, this would be the direction you would see the meteors falling at, right? Because the Earth is still and the stuff is moving. Conversely, if we put the Earth in motion and we stop the debris, someone earthbound would see the meteors coming at a 90-degree angle from the other way, right? But neither of those is the actual situation. The actual situation is that both the Earth is moving and the debris is moving. This has the effect exactly like, in fact, driving your car through a rainstorm. If the rain's coming straight down and you're zooming along, from inside the car, you see the rain coming at you, even though that's not true. So someone standing on Earth watching will now see, and this is the real situation, the meteors coming at this odd angle like this. And if we pull out a little bit, you can see that the real angle that you see the meteors coming in at when you stand on Earth and watch it is has nothing to do with the actual physical things that are flying into our atmosphere. And now I'm going to do kind of a camera move and swing around so that we look from Earth out into space in the illusionary direction of those meteors. And you'll see, coming into view, the constellation Perseus. And that's how it got the name Perseid meteor shower. It's an illusion, a giant illusion. What's important in this context for you to understand is there are two motions that are hidden from you, but are real. And a third motion which is revealed to you, but is illusory. I have $3 silver, and I'm going to show you a simple piece of sleight of hand. And in fact, this is going to be important in a second. I'm going to hand these out just to a couple people up front here. Would you just step up, take a quick look, and just assure everybody here that they are real silver dollars, and there's nothing unusual about them. They are solid discs of silver, struck by the U.S. Mint in the 1920s, I think, Morgan dollars. Yes? Yep. Look all right to you?
This one's fake.
Yes.
He needs to take it.
And what's fake about it?
It's hollow.
It's hollow. Bite it. Go ahead.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm not. Bite it. Don't fuck with me. All right. I want you to see that there's nothing else in my hands, and my sleeves are back out of the way, $3 silver, and nothing else. Okay? In fact, let me get my sleeves because I don't want you later on to say that I cheated you or that they shot up my sleeves. So here's what's going to happen. One at a time, the coins will disappear. While you stare at them, they will fly through the air and appear at the fingertips of my other hand. And when it happens, it looks like this. I know. I wish I could be you right now and see this for the first time. This is so great. Nothing hiding anywhere, right? And if you're close enough, I suggest you watch the actual coins and not the monitor. If you're farther back, I understand, but you'll convince yourself that this is trick photography otherwise. 2 and 1. Okay, let me move my hands a little further apart like this. Oof. I do this. This is one that I stand and do for myself in the mirror at home and just, oh, so great. It feels to me like it's going to be over too soon. Do you feel that too? So I'll tell you what, I'm going to put one back, and I'm going to do it again. Thank you for noticing. One of these, in fact, watch the upper one. I'll hide the other one inside my hand so you just see one of them there. And I'll do this one in slow motion so you can watch it. Ready? Two. That's not as good as when they go in visibly like this. That's it. 1E, 2E, 3. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that magicians spend a lot of time thinking about is patterns, and specifically how the human mind recognizes patterns and how we can short-circuit that. Because one of the most effective ways of making an illusion of something impossible happen is to present someone with something that is ordered but looks like it's chaos, or the reverse of that, something that is obviously a mess, a situation that's obviously disordered, but conceals some kind of hidden order. It's kind of hard to understand in the abstract what I'm talking about, so I have a weird visual demonstration of this. That is a giant, clear kind of cylinder, and inside of it is a second cylinder of a smaller diameter, and the space between the two has been filled with a kind of a thick, it's actually corn syrup, a viscous, thick fluid. And I'm going to, with a syringe, inject down into here, let's go right about there, a little bit of colored dye, like this. Uh-oh, air bubble. That could be trouble. And next to it, a different colored dye, like this. That's going to be close enough for me. Okay, so this represents kind of an ordered situation. And now I have a handle, which I'll stick onto the top here. And I'm going to turn it so that the center cylinder rotates, and it's going to mix and stir the two colors together, like this. And when the pigments hit, they start to spread out, and they make a third color, and kind of a stripe. Right? They become green, and in fact, they spread out so much that they're almost non-existent now. Can everybody see that? So here's what's interesting. Normal everyday experience would tell you that that situation is permanent. You can't unmix it. But if you've organized everything just right, and I turn this backwards, you'll start to see the pigments go back into line, and then separate out from one another, back to the situation they were in the very first place. Thank you. Well, it's nice of you to clap for that, but I didn't invent it, and I'm not even smart enough to explain it to you, really. It has something to do with Reynolds numbers and laminar flow and maybe viscosity and fluid dynamics. But what I do know is that it's a perfect visual metaphor for the card trick I'm going to show you, which is about order and disorder. So this is standard pack of cards, and I'm going to disorder them in a weird way. I'm going to turn roughly half of the cards over, like this, so that we get cards face up and cards face down. And I'm going to just sort of butt them into each other, like this, so that we end up with a mess of cards facing various directions all through the pack. Some are face up, some are face down. You'll see places where they alternate perfectly, face up, face down, face up, face down. You'll see spots where there are little batches of 2 or 3 in a row. The important point is that it's a mess, a disordered, disorganized mess of face up and face down cards. And I'll do no sleight of hand. This is important. In fact, I'm going to take them completely out of my hands and drop them inside of a martini shaker, like this. Now there can be no sleight of hand. I'm not even touching them. I need some help. Steve, you don't have to come up onto the stage. Would you just stand up? Mr. Waz, my hero. You get to make the first choice. Cards are either red or they are black. You get to choose a color, red or black, sir. Red. Red. Point to someone you don't like. Point to someone you don't know. This lady right here, take a seat. Stand up, please. He said it would be a red card, which means it has to either be a diamond or a heart. You get to choose diamonds or hearts. Hearts. Point to someone you don't know. Right here. Everyone is just right near me, right there. I don't want to look around. It was going to be a red card. She said it would be a heart. Would you like it to be a high heart or a low heart? High. Would you consider high to be 7 and above?
Okay.
I'm asking.
Yes.
You don't have to agree. You could say no. Yes? And do you want to include the ace in the high cards or not include the ace?
No.
Not include the ace. So from 7 up to king. Point to someone you don't know. Pointing at Josh. Oh, my other hero. I can't believe you're here, man. Josh Bell. Fantastic. It was a red card. It was a heart. It was a high one, but not an ace. Which one do you want it to be, Josh?
How about 10?
Perfect. 10 of hearts. Good. Remember, they went in completely disordered. Do you remember that? Every single card back facing the way it's supposed to, all the way through the pack. Except for one, right there in the middle. It's a red one, it's a high one, it's a heart, and it's the 10 of hearts. And now, of course, the big secret. The big secret is this wasn't a lecture at all. It was a performance. The science I talked about, although real, has nothing to do with the tricks that I'm doing. And it was just an elaborate presentation that I thought this audience would appreciate. So, I would like to propose a toast. To mystery and keeping it alive in the world. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.